Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Raising the New Earth. Today we have a special guest. Her name is Megan Smith. She's an intuitive, compassionate emotion code therapy healer. She's the owner of Harmony Restored and the president of Guiding Arrow. It's a nonprofit regenerative farm and healing retreat center specializing in nature camps for children and young adults with autism. Welcome, Megan.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. So tell us a little bit more about your journey into wellness.
My journey into wellness started when I had my first son about 17 years ago, and he was diagnosed with autism fairly young, and we just kind of jumped into this alternative health world. And I found myself a few years into that journey, with closets busting at the seams full of supplements, books I didn't have anywhere to put anymore, and feeling so overwhelmed, burned out, stressed, sick, more sick than I was before I had started this healing journey. And I knew at that point something was not adding up. Like, even though on paper it looked like I was doing everything right, I was taking all these great supplements and I was, eating really healthy and doing all these great things, I was feeling so anxious, overwhelmed, all these things. My son wasn't really getting all that much better. We would see little bits and pieces of healing, but then it would just kind of go, he would revert right back. And I just kind of felt like I was banging my head against the wall. And that's kind of where I came into more of the mind body healing, the energy healing, the emotional aspect, because no matter how much I did to try and heal the physical body, it was never clicking. It was never enough. And so that's where I ended up finding the emotion code. And that was such a huge transformation for not just myself, but for my whole family. And I realized, I had been putting off kind of all that emotional woo-woo stuff because I was just like, no, like I'm physically sick and my son is physically sick and I need to focus on that, and then I'll do all the emotional work, not realizing that was really actually the root cause of the whole thing anyways. So I could throw green juice at us all day long and it just didn't really do anything.
Wow, that's incredible. I love that. I love that we talk about this topic because as nutritionists, we always learn, yeah, we're going to apply it with food, we'll change your diet, and working with clients, whether it's Alzheimer or cancer or whatever that may be, you see that the connectivity and the click will be made when it's all integrated together, right? When you have that. So that said, can you tell us more about the body's innate ability to heal and how you see this with your clients and how you saw this with your
I experienced the emotion code and had this really like incredible transformation for myself and for my son, and started doing that professionally, learned how to do it myself. And I've been working in a clinic seeing patients with a wide range of all sorts of physical, mental, emotional disease. So cancer, runny noses, anxiety, depression, all of it. And then even things more like finances, career, relationships, I've seen it all. And the most interesting thing that I have come to realize about the human body after seeing every disease in every walk of life is that we have to get out of our own way. The body knows exactly how to heal in the same way that if we fall down and we scrape our knee, we know that eventually that's going to heal. If it takes a day or 2 days, it just all kind of depends. But just in the same way that the body can heal a cut on the outside, a body can heal on the inside as well. And a lot of times because Western medicine has taught us to fear our symptoms, we have this fight or flight response to any sort of illness. So as soon as there's a headache or a stomach ache or anxiety or anything, we immediately go into panic in a sense, and we get anxious and we start, if you're anything like I used to be, you start researching and you start saying, oh my gosh, did I get gluten? Did I do this? Did I do that? And we become more and more and more stressed. And in turn, we're basically just scraping open that wound over and over and over again. And we're saying, see, like, I can't heal. I can't heal. When in reality, if we just kind of get out of our own way, I always tell people healing is not about fixing who you are, but it's about remembering who you are. And so it's getting back to that innate wisdom that we all have within us, that knowing that our bodies will heal, and knowing that we basically just need to get out of the way and do what we can to lower that stress response in the body so that it can just do what it's normally naturally meant to do.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. I love that. And as much as like wellness is great and it's grown and exploded, and you can find any supplement and any information about this and that, and like knowledge on all the toxins, and that's great. But like you were saying, it has on the flip side the ability to create this idea that like you're always stressing, like, what else do I need? What more? And it's all like these external things. And so it's like bringing it back to the internal, and that it's you, and you have that ability within
exactly.
Yeah,
well, and that, that's I think that's what was so interesting. It was, I started on this journey like doing all the right things, right? I was eating all the right foods and taking all the supplements, and I just wasn't getting any better. And in all reality, I was really getting worse. And so I would say 90% of my clients come to me where like they are so well versed in, they all have, self-proclaimed, degrees in nutrition and health and all these things. They have done it. They have researched it. They've gone down every rabbit hole, and they are they're in no better spot than they were. And that's where when we go so far down into trying to just fix ourselves and not recognizing that the biggest thing we need to really do is just love ourselves and allow for that healing, give space for that healing, rather than going in and saying, okay, like now I'm going to read another book and I'm going to figure this out. That's where the disconnect is. And healing is so much simpler, I think, than we've been led to believe.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So with that being said, can you speak a little more specific to like the emotion code and the actual kind of healing, modality and process that is?
Yeah. So the emotion code is a form of energy healing that targets specifically the trapped emotions that are lodged in our physical body or energetic body. Trapped emotions are just like the leftover energetic baggage that stays and sticks with us after an emotional experience. So in the same way that we can have people trigger is a big word right now. So we get triggered, or we hear something or smell something, and then all of a sudden we're reverted back to an emotion. So it's these it's this energy that we carry with us from past experiences that keep us in fight or flight, keep our bodies stuck in self-sabotage patterns, keep us, basically hitting the wall. Like we keep trying, but we keep hitting a wall. And so the emotion code works to identify and release those trapped emotions so that the body can be in a present state to heal today. So we're not waking up and living our life out of all this old stuff that happened, but we are here in this present moment. And so the emotion code is really good for, again, I've worked with everybody. It can be cancer, it can be, chronic pain, it can be anxiety and panic and depression and all these things. There's always an emotional aspect to whatever physical, mental, emotional imbalance you're having. There's always some trapped emotions at the root of that. So my job is to take a client to look at their whole health history and to look at everything and really see, okay, like I hear you that you've got a stomach ache and you've got anxiety and you've got financial issues and you've got all these things. My job is to like see deeper than that, to see past the symptoms and go deep down into where in the subconscious are we still stuck in patterns that are recreating this over and over. And my job is to go in there, find it and release it.
And these are like physical. Oh, sorry, go ahead. these are physical places that they'll manifest. Like, yeah, I mean, I know they're not physical, but like
So yeah, so everybody has trapped emotions.
Mhm.
Some of them, like for somebody who has chronic pain, so maybe somebody has chronic pain in their lower back, they will have a concentration of trapped emotions in that lower back area. So they can be stuck in organs, tissues, they can be stuck in the energetic body. But again, it's not something that we can like touch and look at and
Right.
see. It's something
Right.
that we feel, right? And it's always, you know, I have clients say a lot of the same things over and over to me, and people are always saying, you know, it's like I go to the doctor, I'll get my blood work done, and they tell me everything's fine, but there's something's going on, and I can't put my finger on what it is. Nobody can help me. Nobody has an answer, but something's happening. Like something is not right. Something is off. And that's where I'm like, yep, I know what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when so I did utilize Megan's services last year after I heard her speak on Journeys of Intrinsic Health, and I was so intrigued by your work. If I felt like you're this medical intuitive woman from like a different era altogether. And and I remember even doing the consultation call with you, I felt so much lighter after I got off the phone. And then we had 4 sessions, and some of them were devoted to our kids, and some of them were devoted to me. And I had this pain in my chest, and you asked me, what do you want to work on? And I explained to you I wanted to be more playful because we just reached the play module with Dr. Zach Bush in Journey of Intrinsic Health. And I wanted to be more playful. I wanted to feel more sexy again. And you said, do you feel any stress in your body? I said, yeah, how do you know? I feel stress in my left area of my chest. And after the first session, which was done remotely, and you explained all the emotions that were trapped, I felt amazing immediately. And like working with you, at least for the first time, it's like 4 sessions. I felt really amazing. And it's like you reprogrammed my, I don't know how to like, it's like a shaman woman. You have reprogrammed my inside. And
Yeah.
still now, a year later, I feel so good. And I can't explain exactly what you did.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's, you know, I love hearing that, and I love hearing that, you know, you're still feeling good. And I just, for me, I just feel grateful that I get to be the messenger. You know, it's not really me that's doing it. I just feel like I'm the facilitator. And, you know, when I'm working with a client, things just open up, and you know, things are just coming out of my mouth that I don't even know what I'm saying. But I know it's what they're needing to hear. And, you know, it's a really cool place, a really cool thing that I get to do on this plane. And the way that I've been able to, you know, to help facilitate other people in their own healing. It's just, you know, it's a great gift.
Yeah. And I remember we talked about the heart wall. Can you explain to us how you ask for it to be revealed and released to you?
Yeah. So the heart wall is a literal wall. I mean, obviously we can't see it, but it's an energetic wall of trapped emotions that are lodged around the heart space. And so most people have a heart wall, and we start developing the heart wall during times in our life. Usually early childhood is the first experience of this feeling, but it's when we have those feelings of, I need to shut down, I need to numb out, I need to protect myself, because this is whatever's happening out here, this is too much. And what will happen in those moments is the body will grab the extra energy of trapped emotions from the field and start building a wall. And it will, in that moment, it will protect us. It is there for a purpose. It is serving a purpose. It is kind of keeping us pushed away from the experience, right? But unfortunately, years and years and years later, that is no longer serving us. So people come to me, and, you know, it's like, it's when, again, we say we're hitting a wall, we keep hitting a wall. It's the self-sabotage patterns. It's these habits that people want to break that they can't seem to break. It's wanting to connect with other people, but not feeling like they can, being viewed, you know, like having this filter when you're communicating with people, not being able to communicate effectively. So imagine like having these walls of, you know, maybe there's anger and defensiveness and anxiety and worry and insecurity, and your whole life becomes filtered through those emotions, and other people also are viewing you through that filter. And so the heart wall is really, really, really powerful to clear. And I love clearing the heart wall because it is always it's kind of a pinnacle of the work together, where it's not something we do right first off the bat. We need to prepare the body for that work. And then once we get to it, it's so cool to see clients start to transform. Sometimes it's like right in the moment, they feel each layer coming down. And I have clients who even I've been doing this for almost 11 years. So I have clients years later who are like, you took my heart wall down 5 years ago. And let me go through the list of everything that's changed. They've left toxic relationships. They've started careers. They're doing this, they're doing that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just so cool to witness people taking down that wall and really being able to be more aligned with their authentic self, and really drop into who they are and their gifts and why they're here, and live from that space instead of that filter.
Very powerful.
Yeah.
I know you work with children, and a lot of that is developed in early childhood. Do you feel that can even from even immediate birth? Because I know I've heard, just there's so much trauma that can happen just through the birthing process itself. So is it even those, things
so
like that, or
what
are you?
Yeah, I have worked with children in utero all the way to clients in hospice. And children come into the world so at conception, the moment of conception, in the same way that we can inherit eye color and hair color and all those things, we can also inherit trapped emotions. And so you can see there's family trauma, it's generational trauma. You can notice threads of emotional imbalances throughout families. And a lot of that can get passed on at the moment of conception. And then children under the age of 8 are sponges for their environment. They are living in a completely subconscious in a subconscious world. And so they do not have the ability to rationalize through their emotions. And so what happens is they are, for better, for worse, more susceptible to their environment and to their experiences, for better, for worse. And so I have a lot of clients who are children, and I always tell the parents, I'm like, this is the best preventative medicine that you are giving your child to prevent a lifelong. So this child is not 30, 40 coming to me after living through all of these, if it's big trauma, little trauma, normal stress, big stress, living through life experiences, and then becoming 30 and realizing everything I've been doing isn't working for me. I've got to redo my whole life. What do I do? I'm helping that child at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever age, how impactful that is going to be for that child's entire life, and thinking of it in a way of preventing mental illness, preventing emotional stress, preventing all of these things. So yes, as far as that goes, we can have trapped emotions from day one. And that's, it's just part of our human experience. It's not something to fear, but there are ways we can work with that. And we're not stuck. We're not trapped.
So incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
And who does it for you when you need
So
therapy?
I have a friend of mine who, she and I will go back and forth, and we're constantly texting each other every day. And so I work on her family and she works on us. And so, cause I'm too close to work on myself or my kids, and vice versa. And so I work on all of her family and she works on mine.
That's a good solution.
Yeah.
So tell us more about Guiding Arrow. I know it's a recently new passion project of you and your husband. So tell us more about that.
Yeah. So Guiding Arrow is, it is still in kind of the dream phase. We're still fundraising and trying to get established. About a year and a half ago, my children were kind of reminiscing about the life that they used to live when they were much younger out on the farm. And my son, he's 17, he's on the spectrum. I have 2 other children, and my husband has 3 children, also one of whom is on spectrum. My children, when my son was 5, 6, we ended up moving, like selling everything, moving to the middle of nowhere, starting a farm because he was just not thriving. And we could tell how much he needed to be connected to nature. So long story short, it was such a healing experience for our family. And then my kids were talking about it about a year ago, and they were just like, Mom, how cool would that be if we like had a space where we could be out in the country again, and we can be growing our food, and we could like have families and kids come and they could have that same experience. And I was like, well, you know what? I'm like, I have 6 kids, a new husband, a business. Like, why don't we just throw a nonprofit onto the onto the fire and see what happens? So my husband and I started Guiding Arrow, and it is going to be a regenerative farm where we have healing retreats for individuals, but for families as well, specifically focusing on helping kids with autism, helping kids with anxiety, helping kids with depression, sensory issues. They can come, they can, have yoga and meditation and emotional regulation classes, and learn survival skills and how to build a fire, and learn how to grow their own food and how to cook their own food, and just teaching some of these skills that unfortunately are just lacking in our modern day society, but especially for kids on the spectrum, they're just not getting a lot of that. Because despite all the work that I do in the emotional realm, like being out in nature, getting exercise, eating healthy food is just as critical, right? And we have to kind of create this whole package, this whole beautiful synergy of wellness. And that's kind of the dream for Guiding Arrow, is to create a space where people can come and retreat away and heal. So
That sounds amazing. What are the ages going to be?
So we are going to have it's going to be different. So we'll have different ages where we've got younger children, we have middle school, we have high school. So we want to make sure that we can kind of create an opportunity for all ages to come. This will be down the road, but we're going to have an entrepreneurship program for the older children so that they can learn how to create their own businesses and how to create value and help them with that, and create employment opportunities for them to work at Guiding Arrow. So we have those as far as the camps, and then the rest of the year we're going to be holding, conferences, retreats for anybody, any age. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Wow.
That's the plan. So yeah, we're right now, we're working kind of behind the scenes to get everything, working together. We're fundraising. We're just trying to kind of get the community rallied around us to get the word out and, and help create this dream, into reality.
Yeah. What a beautiful gift you're gifting the world with. We need it.
Thank you.
Yeah. And to create, I always love things like that and experiences like that, because I feel like once you experience it, you can't go back. And it's like, and you get it, like, I mean, not that you can go back. I will say, like, it's even, it's, you immerse yourself in something like that, and then it's like, but you feel the contrast more. And so it just does create that ripple effect of,
Yeah. We just figured, you know what, like, let's do something good. Let's work to heal the earth. Let's work to heal our community. And somebody's got to do it. So we're ready to do it.
Yeah. Well, that's just it too. It's like you're giving back to the earth as well as people. And that's that's the beautiful thing about true healing, is that it does everything.
Exactly.
Yeah. Didn't we have a guest, Christine Emmer? Like, she lived also in the middle of nowhere with her baby and her husband, right? She's also a coach from Journey of Intrinsic Health.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Brooke, remember she told us?
Who is that?
Was it Emmer? Christine Emmer?
Oh, Kristen. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Kristen
Yes.
Emmer.
Yes. Yeah. That we had on the podcast. Yeah. That's I feel like, going to, because I know I did Journey of Intrinsic Health as well. I don't know. That's how I know Noah. But I feel like Dr. Zach brings in so many people who just get the connection and understand.
So going back to the emotion code real quick, at what stage of their healing do you see the clients, those that maybe are referred to you through the M Clinic or Dr. Zach, at what stage of their healing do they decide, hey, Megan needs to come into the picture and work with them?
So when I was working, so Zach, Dr. Bush has closed the clinic. But when we were there, I've been working with him, seeing his patients for the last 10 years. And when a patient would come in the door, they are usually somebody who they're well-versed in alternative health. They've been trying a lot of things, and they're kind of at this crossroads of, they're ready, they're ready to go. We need to do this. And when he comes in, there is not really an order of importance as far as which pillar of health needs to be focused on most. Obviously there's different circumstances, but somebody will come in the door and he will say, okay, we need to incorporate, all of these different aspects of health. My aspect of that whole holistic picture is the emotional wellness side. And so that is just as important to a patient as nutrition, which is just as important as, fresh air and movement and all these different things. Now, granted, somebody might need more emotional support, like they've got the food stuff down, they've been doing that, they're fine, and they really need to focus more on one area. But, the person who comes in and is really ready for healing is somebody who is just, I don't know, it's like we speak this language where they've been there, they've done it, they've tried, they're exhausted. And I'm like, all right, there's an easier way. I got you. Let's go. And they kind of just let go and trust. And that's when I know somebody's really open and ready for that healing.
Yeah.
I'm curious in your experience, because with trapped emotions and, kind of micro type trauma, a lot of it is mental patterns that we hold. Do you feel that when you work on someone and help them release the emotions, that mental part kind of can go away with that? Or is there do you feel that that's kind of separate? I don't want to say separate, but an additional thing that might need worked on. It's just yeah. Does that make
it depends on the person. So a lot of times what I will notice is as we work on the trapped emotions, as we kind of dig into that part of it, a lot of the mental patterns will start to shift. Now, let me give you a personal example from my life. When I was doing this work, I would say if I had to put my healing on a scale of 0 to 100, I would say I was about 75% there. Had been doing the emotion code for a while, was feeling so much better, but something was still not quite there. And so this is the coaching aspect that I like to teach my clients. And I remember the day that I changed, I finished my healing. And I know that's kind of a silly word to say because we're constantly evolving and growing, but I closed that chapter. That chapter of my healing was closed. And I remember it was a beautiful spring day, and my husband at the time and my kids were outside playing in the yard and working in the garden. And, the dogs running around, it was just beautiful. But I was inside reading some diet health book, right? And I just had this moment where I realized I was better, but I was still in the habit of being a sick person. I was still in the habit of acting like I was sick, acting like there was something wrong with me. And I just realized, okay, so if this is 100% mental at this point, that I have to finish breaking the habit. I feel better, but I haven't broken the mental habit of acting and thinking like a sick person. And so at that moment, I realized someone who is happy and healthy is not going to be inside reading a health book when it's a beautiful day and their kids are outside playing, right? So I closed the book and I just remember thinking, okay, I'm done. And from now on, I'm going to eat, breathe, think, talk like a happy, healthy person. And I went outside and I just and that night was the first time I had gone to a restaurant in years because I was so terrified all the time of toxins and, blah, 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 blah. I let myself go outside and play. I put the book away. I started throwing away all my supplements. I started getting rid of all that stuff. And I just closed that chapter of being sick. That wasn't who I was anymore. I wasn't identifying with that. Somebody that was happy and healthy was going to be outside playing with their kids. They were going to go enjoy dinner. And that's what I decided to do. And so a lot of it, but I couldn't have gotten to that place mentally if it weren't for the emotion code work I had done leading up to that moment. So clearing my heart wall, doing all that stuff is what created the landscape for me to be able to see that habit and break it in such a kind of one fell swoop. So this is a part of it, is sometimes every client is so different. Every session is very personalized. So some clients will come to this place on their own. Some clients need more mental coaching. They need more of that aspect of it. So I created my Rooted in Health course, which is kind of what that does. That takes all of that mental coaching and that understanding our thoughts, understanding our emotions, all of that stuff, so that somebody can have that and refer back to it as needed, and help them with those acute things that come up day to day. So to answer your question specifically, it totally depends on the person, but that mental aspect is totally part of healing just as much as the emotional.
That was such a powerful example, because I feel like I related to that in so many ways.
Yeah.
Just, there comes a time where it's like, stop learning and just embody it,
yeah. And that's that's where I just realized, when that thought, that healing is not about fixing who you are, it's about remembering who you are. And that's what that moment was for me, because I was still in that fixing mode of like, something's wrong with me. I didn't really feel like anything was wrong with me, but I might as well read this book just in case something else happens. Or, I was just kind of in that anxious spiral still. And I realized, okay, there isn't somebody who is happy and healthy and thriving is not worrying about fixing themselves. They are just there. They're just present. They're just in their body. They're embodying themselves in that moment, whatever that looks like. And I can't do that when I'm reading a diet book, So, so yeah, I always think back to that day and just recognize how powerful that our mind is, and those habits can become, and how the emotion code can really help loosen the chains around those so that they can just fall away when it's time.
Now I feel ashamed about the stocks of books we just ordered.
No, and that's I still have a ton of books, and I'm in alternative health. It's the energy that we bring to it, right? It's the energy of, furthering our knowledge versus fixing ourselves. And there's a huge difference between coming to a book or an event or a supplement or whatever and saying, I have to do this because there's something wrong with me and I need to fix it, versus I'm doing this to nourish myself. I'm doing this because it feels good. There's a radical difference between those two outlooks. And that's, one is health and one is disease, no matter what you're doing. If you're taking in green juice on this side, saying I'm doing this because I'm bad and I ate something bad and I'm broken and I'm unhealthy, versus I'm taking green juice in because this is what feels really good in my body. One is creating disease, one is creating health. It doesn't matter what the thing is that you're doing.
Yes.
Yes. Intention is everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So what do you feel about the whole longevity trend thing that's going on right now? I know that my husband is really into it. How much longer how long can I sustain being on this physical realm, and what do I need to do in order to reach 100 and whatever? What's your take? What's your take on that?
I don't get into that stuff. I just figure I will be here as long or as short as I need to be. I think a lot of times when we are trying to, a lot of times, unfortunately, people that are really passionate about health can also have a lot of anxiety, a lot of underlying anxiety. And they're doing it not because that's what they want to do or because that feels good, but because they're scared. They're scared of illness. They're scared of death. They're scared of cancer. They're scared of whatever. Right. And so fear is fear is fear. So it doesn't matter if you're doing something good, if it's driven by fear, it's still fear. And so it's more for me as far as like all of these different trends and biohacking and all this kind of stuff. It goes back to what we just said. It's all about intention. So for me, I try to keep my going there and trying to figure out like what my life is going to look like in 30, 40 years. It's too overwhelming for me. And I know that I'm going to do better if I stay in this present moment and take care of myself today and do what feels right today and make sure that I'm loving myself and caring for myself. And that will mean whatever that means, and accepting whatever life decides to bring to me and not stressing too much about, you know, all of these different trends and all of that stuff. Like my body is so much more smart and wise than all of this other stuff that the world is throwing at us right now.
Yes. Wow. Yes. And I'm sending my husband for a session with you. But I remember having a lot of conversations with you about if you thought with all your clients that you've seen on, you know, some of them on deathbeds, hospice hospitals, if you thought that the soul chooses its exit. Right?
Oh, I think so for sure. Yeah, I think so for sure. It is, yeah, I have been in a hospice, you know, room with a patient, and I just remember, you know, watching her journey unfold and her coming from a place of like, we have to fix this right now. Like, I'm so scared. I don't want to die. I don't want to die, to coming to a point where she made peace with just, this is what my experience is. This is what my human experience is offering me right now. And what am I going to do with it? And recognizing when she kind of let her soul take over, that's when her body did what it needed to do. And that's the same way for whatever, you know, good, bad, life, death, whatever. It's living from that soul space. It's living from that heart space and trusting whatever life brings you, that it is in your highest good, that no matter what's happening, it is always in our highest good. There is nothing happening that shouldn't be happening.
That's spirituality and faith and belief and trust at its core, what you just said.
It is. Yeah.
Wow.
I will say I've had like the privilege of seeing someone pass, and it makes you have a complete, it like brings tears to my eyes. It makes you have a completely different outlook on everything.
Yes.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I can see. Yeah.
Do you believe in reincarnation, Megan?
So that is a really good question. So I grew up in a very conservative Christian religion, and unpacking that, leaving that religion and unpacking that, and going from, this is how things are 100%. There's no black or white, or there's no gray. It's black or white. This is just how it is. To opening my mind and my heart to like, it could be anything. I don't know what it could be. It could be this, it could be that. And I've come to a place in my life where I am okay with not understanding all the ins and outs of it. I understand that there is something greater, there is something more, there is something that we don't understand. I have cleared trapped emotions from people's past lives, whatever that means. But I am not going to sit here and act like I have any answer. And that has been part of my journey, is being able to sit in the uncertainty and allow that and let that be just where, like, that's okay to be uncertain, that's part of our human experience, that we don't have to know the answer to all of these things. But again, from working with clients, I know that there's more. I know that things have happened before and things are happening after, and what exactly that all looks like, I don't know yet, and I'm okay with not knowing.
Yeah, be okay not knowing. Be okay.
Yes, for sure.
And I think that's the beautiful thing about being human, is like and understanding that we have such a limited understanding, and in a sense, as you are saying, like, just what, like, it's so about being present. And
Right.
when you're wondering, well, what's going to happen next, or what was my past, it's taking you out of what you're experiencing.
Exactly. And that's where I have a lot of clients who are so focused on past lives or focused on this or that. And, that's great. Like, but at the same time, like, okay, let's come back to to right now, today. This is where you are right now. There's a reason why you're here right now. There's a reason why you don't remember all the details. There's a reason why. So let's just be with where we're at right now and work with that, And so a lot of times focusing on all that can be another kind of symptom of anxiety, another symptom of, just the fixing kind of mentality. Instead of just allowing and being present, we kind of disassociate off into these other, like, okay, well, maybe it's a past life, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. And it just brings us out of present moment.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
Well, I know that you need to go, Megan. So, Brooke, do you have anything else?
No, we'll put all of your where to find you, but you do offer like an online self-paced, but then also do one-on-one work. Is that?
Yeah. So I do one-on-one work all the time with clients. There is an ability to work in a self-paced online course where you're getting all the mental coaching, the emotional wellness coaching, but you're not doing the emotion code, the body code, the subconscious work. So if you want to go to that aspect, that's when we work together privately, one-on-one. There's lots of different options as far as that goes. So there's lots of different ways to get in touch with me.
Yeah, and we're going to put the link to both Guiding Arrow and Harmony Restored, your company, on the show notes.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Megan. You are so amazing.
Thank you so much for having me.
Inside of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Megan.
Bye. Bye.